Hey guys, welcome to episode 175 of the League of Legends Anonymous podcast. I'm your host Sam, aka Just Casual. Here I have with me Alec, aka Wormlax.
What's going on, dude? Excited to be here tonight. We're gonna have an awesome night.
It is just us two tonight. And you know what? I listened to an old episode and I totally realized I might have called you Alex on it. Oof. And I'm pretty sure I meant to say Alec, but it just sounded like Alex. So I don't really know what to say, but I'm sorry for that.
It's possible. There's the whole issue with I've had this issue before where when you say like something of mine, Alex, it sounds like you're saying Alex because you're saying the possessive term. It's very confusing at times. So like when you're saying Alex's thing, but it's Alex thing too, it can get very confusing, and it has worked against me my whole life. It's funny how a 4-letter name has been pronounced wrong so many times.
I'm sorry for your suffering and just really hard life.
It's traumatic.
Yeah. Traumatic. So we have a special episode today. We have a call-in show, but as we get things ready, before we jump into that, we want to talk a little bit about Ranked. The new season started. It's been super hype. I'm super excited. I'm sure Alec is also very excited, right?
Dude, I'm excited, and I actually can't believe it's season 8 already.
Yeah,
I started back in season 4, and like I always was like, oh, I'm starting on like the tail end of League, like tons of people are already in it, and now at season 8 I'm running into most people have not played as long as me, and it's like, holy cow. It's just time goes by so fast, and Ranked is still just as stressful.
Yeah, it totally is. Absolutely. It's very overwhelming for me to think about anyone that's trying to get into the game right now. Like I don't understand. Good luck. Hopefully you're listening to this podcast and hopefully we're helpful, because yeah, I think we're pretty helpful. I'd like to think we're helpful. I'm going to tell myself we're helpful.
Positive attitude, that's what counts.
Yeah, so we were talking about placements. You haven't finished your placements yet, correct?
Yeah, I'm sitting at a very nice 0-1.
0-1.
I played one game as my Renekton top, and I got ganked by a Skarner 4 times pre-5. And I did not play into it well. I was fighting a Jax, and I wanted to try to pressure early because it's Jax. I need to beat him early because he's going to outscale me. And that backfired big time with the Skarner. He did his red, came top immediately. I died to that one, TP'd back to lane. And then he came back. I saw that coming. I backed off because I knew if I used my TP, he'd want to kill me again. And then he came back later and killed me again. And I was very sad. And the rest of my team, my Lux and Kog'Maw, were yelling at each other because they were not playing very well. So it was just a recipe for disaster.
At least they weren't yelling at you. That's it.
I guess. I don't
Silver
know.
lining.
Them pretty fast. So.
That's funny. So I finished my placements. I went like 4 and 6 or something like that. So I think I lost more than I got. I ended up silver.
4 is less than 6.
Yes. I passed 2nd grade math. It's great. And I placed in silver 3, but I decided to do something kind of weird this season. I don't know if it's a good idea or a bad idea. I still don't know, and I was questioning it the whole time I was doing it. But I'm trying to win a game in ranked with every single champion. Also going Phil every game. And
it's a bad idea.
I'm at 50% right now.
It's not terrible.
I mean, ideally what I would do is like, oh, I haven't played Zed yet and I'm mid. I should play Zed. And what I would do before that ranked game is play like 10 games of Zed in like a normal or something.
That's ambitious.
Yeah. So far, I haven't like just pulled out a champion that I haven't played before, because I have been playing since season 1. So I've probably played, I think there are definitely maybe 10 champions I haven't played. So I played all of them at least a little bit, and I'm pretty familiar with the support role. And guess what? When I queue up as Phil, I get support every game. Except that one game that I got jungle, and I didn't realize I had jungle, so I took Leona support, and then we were at the jungle buff, and we're like, why doesn't anyone have smite? I did win that game, though.
What?
Yeah, okay. A little bit of story time. I did win that game because we realized it right before the buff spawn. I'm like, crap, Darius, I'm coming top with you. And he's like, he just didn't say anything. So I went top and we're like, we're going to destroy this Riven. It's going to work out great because it's dual top laners. No one knows how to deal with like just off meta stuff, you know? And we gave a double kill to the enemy Lee Sin when he ganked, which was unfortunate because Darius wouldn't stop pushing. But at level 6, we just kept turret diving Riven and she died.
Wow.
And then actually the Shen support was really, really good. And we just roamed the map like very cohesively, and he would engage or I would engage and one of us would follow up, just CC the crap out of them. And we actually won the game very cleanly and it was really, really fun. And now I don't have to play Leona for the rest of the season.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, the part you have to worry about the most when doing a duo top is getting through early game because, like, you're missing out on all that gold from your jungle, and their jungler should be putting more pressure on the map than you're able to as a duo top.
Mm-hmm.
So if you get past that, at that point, you're just like, if it was a tank jungler, you'd be doing the same thing. You're just supporting your team. So as long as you get past that kind of rocking early game with that, I guess it works.
It worked. And again, it was
not recommend.
I did not recommend unless you know what you're doing from the start. Because again, like it would have been really, really clean if Darius knew like let's not push and let's zone Riven off. And anytime Riven tries to come into play, we just kill her. Because I see her for like 4 seconds while Darius is like beating her, getting all his blood stacks on her, and then she flashes away. Then we kill her the next time, you know. But Darius really wasn't exactly on the same page, but it ended up working out just because we had a decent team comp for it anyway, and we macroed the crap out of the other team. So, yay!
Nice.
Rank's going all right. I think I have more than 50% win rate, so that's good so far. I am running a little short on supports, but, you know, it's all good.
Yeah, I will say to anyone out there who actually wants to climb, don't do a lot of champions. That's exactly how you get into you're not playing to your full potential. But if you're just looking to have fun, I mean, it's all about fun, right?
I am trying to do it to create content for the podcast. I am recording all my games, so I'll eventually get to like creating like a little fun storytelling montage about my journey and stuff like that. So
I'm excited.
Yeah, I have no idea if I'm gonna get through all the champions. I don't know how I'm gonna win a game on Zed. I have no idea. Actually, I know. I'm just gonna play Zed support because I've seen that done. Poke the crap out of people and just press R. And then be like, this is a noob champ. What are you guys all talking about? Yeah, and then get carried.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll have to do it in Flex Q with you guys.
Does Flex Q count? I don't know if that counts if you get carried by your team. It's like a joint. Like if it's some random team, I'll give it to you. Like, cause that's. But if it's like a team that's cohesive together, I don't know if I'd give that to it.
I feel the judgment from Ruukuegg right now in chat, who is typing in all caps doesn't count. So, but speaking of Ruukuegg, like we said before, this is a listener call-in episode. You guys told us with the feedback that you guys want to have more interaction with the hosts and you want to do some call-in episodes. We thought it was a great idea. We used to do them. It fell flat after a few episodes, but we want to try to do it again. So Ruku, if you are ready, let me know in chat, and then we will get you unmuted and get going. He's ready. All right, cool. And unmute. Hello.
Oh, hey guys.
Hey, how's it going?
Ruku.
Good. How are you guys doing?
I'm doing swell. It is pronounced Ruukuegg, right?
Correct. Yeah.
Okay, good. We have had this issue
after a year. We finally got it down.
Yeah. Yeah. So what do you want to talk about, buddy?
I want to talk about Trundle.
Trundle. Okay.
Ooh.
Yeah. So little background. I have 112 games on him from last season.
Nice.
With 56% win rate.
Oh.
Damn.
I cannot get him working this season. And this is out of the jungle, for clarification.
Huh.
So I guess kind of what I was thinking was, first off, should I continue playing him in the jungle or top lane? Because in the jungle, I typically play him tank.
Mm-hmm.
But I love split pushing. And I know typically that doesn't work too great as a jungler. But then when I play him top, I do the Ravenous Hydra T-Force build and just split my life away.
So actually, this is super relevant because that literally right before this episode, I was watching a video from Heisman. He's Lee Sin One Trick, but he also has a pocket pick of Trundle, and he was making a video called "What the Most Underrated Champion," and it was about Trundle. And he'd put together a really nice video outlining what runes he's using this season, how he jungle clears, and why Trundle has such good gank pressure early when people don't think of him as an early gank pressure. So I actually think he's really good in the jungle this season. Actually, if you want to stick it out, what are you running for runes?
In the jungle, I was running Press the Attack. That was kind of my follow-up onto that. Because as a person who was playing him for a long time, I was theory crafting a Unsealed Spellbook with him and switching Flash for Teleport later. But anyway, yeah, so Press the Attack with secondary of Resolve.
Okay, yeah, that's what Heisman was running, the guy I was watching, and it seems like it's getting good results. He's very good into the tank meta.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's technically not quite a tank meta right now, but tanks are fairly strong. You see a lot of tank junglers, and he can 1v1 just about anyone. So,
oh yeah, for sure.
I think, how many games have you played of ranked so far this season?
Let's see. I'm 5-13.
Okay,
Ooh,
so still a pretty small sample size in the scheme of things. Like right now at the start of the season, it's a pretty good number, but you've definitely got some time. I think you can. I would say stick with it. I think Trundle. I mean, he also has a low pick in ban rate, so he makes for a very good champion to main because you're not going to have him contested very often.
Right.
I guess I can't talk about his gameplay too much because I haven't played him a whole lot myself, but from what I've seen, it seems like people who do main him for a number of time end up seeing like an exponential. He's one of those champions that, like, when you get down, like, even though he seems fairly easy, if you can get some of his nuances down, he can be very potent.
Oh yeah, for sure, I agree.
Yeah.
He's my boy.
So I'm kind of wondering too, because if it sounds like you have a lot of games with him, so you understand his mechanics and things like that. I'm sure there's plenty more to learn, like the small nuances. So if you're like watching streamers or some YouTube videos, it's just like people talking about Trundle specifically to get like the little like how to, you know, cancel auto attacks and how to time your Q, or even like how to time your ult better and stuff like that. My guess is, especially if you're split pushing, macro knowledge might be lacking there too, because split pushing is not an easy thing, and it requires a lot from either a ridiculous amount of awareness from yourself or some from your teammates too. Like you can figure out a way to split push around your team, but at the same time, sometimes if your team just can't do what you need them to do, then you cannot just split push your way to victory. And I think unless you're bringing like one or two people up to you, I feel like Trundle's really, really good at team fights with like his pillar CC and then just being able to get really, really tanky. So I'm not sure if he's the best split pusher, and I would say that depends on your team comp and the enemy team comp as well. So that might be hurting your success rate even if you're playing him decently.
Oh, I mean, for sure. Like, so a little more clarification on the split pushing.
Sure.
I don't do that when I come out of the jungle.
Okay.
It's only when I pick him top.
Gotcha.
Because last season, like, I was always a carry jungler, so I adapted through the middle of the season to like, well, guess I can't play carries anymore. I'm just gonna be a meat shield for my AD carry. So it was like Cinder Hulk, Stone Plate, you know, just basically full tank. I mean, if I was ahead enough, I'd get a T-Force, but just so I understand how to team fight on Trundle.
Gotcha.
I'm 1-5 on him this season, and I was starting to pick up Kane, but yeah, I don't know. He's just my boy, and I don't want to leave him behind.
Yeah, it can sometimes get discouraging when you start losing a lot, especially with a main champ. I actually had this issue earlier in the season with Renekton, where I was not playing well with him. It was actually in preseason, but I was not playing well on Renekton. And I dropped him for a little while, played some other roles, and I came back, and after some like changes to runes and stuff, I've started enjoying him again. And sometimes it just takes that, you know, if 6 games like 1-5. It feels really bad right now, but in the grand scheme of things, you could easily make it up potentially with a run. I feel like for me personally in ranked, there's a lot of streaks that go on. It seems like you're either winning constantly or you're losing a lot in like a row. So you might just be in a little bit of a slump, and you need, ranked is a lot about resolve and just keep pushing on, because with a 50% win rate will climb, and 50% win rate really doesn't feel that good if you play a lot of games in a row. That's a lot of losses to take. So
Right.
it's really easy to get invested in every single game. And I mean, I say that because personally I do this really bad, where I can really take a loss hard and like hold it with me into the next game. So
Yeah, for sure.
it's a marathon for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I also think that, I think there's a thing called, I might be making this up, but I think it's a real thing, like champion fatigue. I think you could just get burned out on a champion, and just because of that, like maybe you get a little more like you have your blinders on, you're kind of too narrowly focused on how you're playing the champion, and then like you're just not seeing the mistakes that you're making because you're playing the champion so often. And sometimes you just need to step away and like just totally mix up, like play an assassin jungler, something that's completely different, and then do that either in normals or in ranked, or just like play ARAMs and just get your mind off of playing ranked as Trundle, and then come back to it once like that itch is still there, because like you said, it's kind of like it's your man. You want to keep playing Trundle, but sometimes I think taking a break from it's not that bad of an idea either.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, out of curiosity, what do you think about the Unsealed Spellbook and swapping Flash for TP later?
In the jungle or in top lane?
Yeah, jungle. So I still have Smite.
I think it's okay, but I would personally stick with just press the attack. I think press the attack is too important for like your fighting potential early.
Okay.
Like you can just proc it so fast with the auto Q auto. Like that's huge for Trundle. And the ability to stick to targets with your pillar and then to take advantage of that press the attack proc later on in the fights. I just don't see Unsealed Spellbook giving him enough an advantage that you would take it over press the attack. I don't think it's a bad summoner. I think like Unsealed Spellbook is so good in general with cooldown and being able to change summoners that it's not a bad thing to take on any champion. I just think that press the attack is better.
Okay.
Yeah, and I also think that unless you're very, very good at teleporting just to get around the map isn't always super great. Like it could be the thing that wins you the game at that 55-minute mark, but if you had pressed the attack, you could have had so many more advantages, or so many other one fights, or that much faster of a clear, or you could have won that trade top lane. Like all these kind of things could be so much beneficial from press the attack than that one good easy teleport unless you're really doing a good job like getting these flank TPs and getting to the AD carries or the carries in the back line. But that's really hard to do in a solo queue game when like you kind of need your support to set up those wards, because you're putting down a trinket ward that only lasts like 120 seconds or 60 seconds, and it's really hard to set up your own teleports well. And again, it's a hard thing to do, just period. Just teleporting well into fights, especially in solo queue. So I just see teleports being really useful in most of solo queue as like a band-aid for getting pushed out of lane, or having to get back into lane really quick, or doing a bad rotation and making up for it. And it just doesn't give as much value as a different keystone.
Okay.
Or that's keystone.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay.
Yeah. What were you gonna say before I cut you off? Sorry about that.
I think I was gonna follow up with a question about Jax, because I also have last season 89 games on Jax with a 56% win rate.
Nice.
Mostly splitting, but from the jungle.
Okay.
And he has a, I guess, 6-second flash ward hop deal. So again, same thing. Summoner or Unsealed Spellbook. Like this was all theory crafting I did before, or when the runes were announced. I was like, oh, I could totally split out of the jungle and still have Smite.
I would I would say try it out. Like, it might not be perfect or even technically as good as some of the other stuff, but I'm just gonna go out on a limb here and say that you're not challenger, right?
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
Just
nope.
masters.
No,
Just
you're
masters.
not challenger. So you don't have, only challengers have to play the top tier, like exactly build right to win.
Yeah.
So if you want to try something out new that you think will work, because the other thing is like we just talked about it with Sam accidentally playing a support in jungle one game. It's like it just ended up working because the other team didn't handle it right. You might find that you end up winning a considerable amount of your games just because the other team doesn't know how to handle it.
Or just, you handle it well, huh? Come on, give me some credit, Alec.
I'm not one to build people up, all right? That's not my job. But
It's a good way of life.
But that would be, I would say try it. You might find that you have a really good success rate with it. I really like the idea of finding things that, while they're not like crazy off meta, are different enough that they catch people off guard.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I think, like you mentioned, Jax has better escapes and engages than a Trundle. So Flash, yes, you can have a even better engage or escape if you have Flash on Jax, but he has an easier time not having Flash than Trundle. And if you're split pushing, then I think it kind of works. I think it has a better legitimacy than Trundle Jungle taking Spellbook.
So in my experience, I think it's actually typically easier to escape as Trundle.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, because you have your W and you have your pillar, plus you get your health right back while you're in your W. Like, you can run so fast. People either have to blow everything to try to get you, like a bunch of flashes.
Okay.
Because, I mean, when you're in that W, you're just woof, you're just flying.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Real fast.
That is a really good point, actually.
Plus your E slows and your chomp slows.
Yeah. But then again, now I'm thinking about it. I think press the attack on Jax is like even more important on Jax than Trundle.
really
So I'm like
good,
going back and forth on this now. Huh.
Yeah, no, exactly.
I think I circle back to the same thinking with the Trundle. I think press the attack is technically better, but I think it would be interesting to try out. And I would say, like, even if it's not in ranked, even if you play some normal games, like, give it a try, and maybe it works out, and you're like, oh crap, like, even though this isn't technically stat-wise better, like, I'm getting more success with it because of the way it changed the macro game.
Yeah. And also, like, we can theorycraft all we want, and you can hear from the highest elo players that this is the best way to do it, and this is horrible an idea. But if it ended up working, like, there's something. Maybe that's just, like, fits your playstyle really, really well, and you know how to take advantage of that. Or maybe it's something with the meta at your elo that you're finding a hole in or finding huge success in. Because I remember, like, season 1, I would take, like, full AP. Everything was AP in my runes, and I'd play like Kassadin, and I always get a kill at like level 2 or 3 or something like that, because I just snowballed with that, and people didn't realize how OP Kassadin was at the time for like 2 seasons, and it worked really, really well. And as stupid as that was, like, hey, it works in my bronze. Like, it was like 1,000 or like 900 elo at the time or whatever it was. Like, it just worked. So you can abuse that, and if you hit that wall eventually, which I don't know if you have yet, then you have to rethink things, right? And as long as you're willing to rethink it and like switch it up, which it sounds like you are, it sounds like you like to play around with things, then like, who cares?
Yeah.
If it's stupid and it works, it isn't stupid.
Yeah,
That's fair.
everyone else is stupid.
Yeah,
So-
exactly.
I don't know why that made me think of this, but last season, I was playing Coin Nasus. All of my friends were making fun of me. And then suddenly it shows up. I mean, I understand Coin got strong, but I mean, like, I had the right idea, right?
Yeah.
And then it shows up in Diamond. 3 months later, it's like, yeah, who's stupid now?
Hey, I mean, the blue Ezreal build that everyone uses now, that was originally a gold player who came up with that. So it's all about, like, just trying different stuff, and anyone can come up with different stuff. That I think there's a lot of things in League 2 that are technically good, but aren't like like the best, so they don't get used. So like I think there's a lot of room in League to play things that can potentially get you wins, but if you were technically trying to play at the highest level of play, aren't viable.
Mm-hmm.
But that's what's perfect about ranked when you're not challenger. You can do these different things. You can do whatever you want and try out what you want to try out, and it probably will work if you're good at it.
In relation to that, two things. I'm undefeated. I'm like 10-0 with Darius in the bot lane, with Anami support, obviously a friend, and have like a 90% win rate as Garen in the bot lane with a Soraka support.
Dude, I love this. I love this.
And it's so funny because my friend and I was like 14 hours away, but we spent like 6 hours over Facebook Messenger just like theory crafting the items I need to build on bot lane Garen to make this work. Like, I love theory crafting. It's so much fun.
I mean, I'll tell you this. You're at least doing it right. You're not the guy. You're not me that's going like, Pantheon support sounds great. And I've thought about it a little bit, and it makes sense to me, so let's do it. At least I didn't bring it into ranked. I brought it into ranked once, and then I stopped because it really was a really rough match. And yeah, LowSpice here loves Pantheon support, so do I. And I know it triggers Worm here because he just hates Pantheon, period.
I hate Pantheon.
Everyone
it
should.
won't be as problematic anymore.
Yeah, the changes to minion aggro.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're at least putting thought behind it. So, you know, what happens is that you thought it through, you realize it sucks, and you don't do it. You thought it through, you realize it's really good, and you give it a shot, and it succeeds. Or you thought it through, you thought it would be good, and it wasn't, and maybe you try it again, or you stop. Like, I think, and you're having fun with it. So yeah, bring Garen to the bot lane, and hopefully, I just know you're probably gonna tilt some of your teammates. It would probably tilt me too, but I'm terrified when I see like a non-meta bot lane with like no range AD carry, because I'm like, they know something, and my stupid ass like AD carry or my stupid support's not gonna know how to deal with it, and they're gonna die to that like Xin Zhao Leona bot lane, and it terrifies me. You know?
Yeah, I have PTSD when it comes to melee bot lanes because it took me 7 Plat 1 promos to get to Diamond finally. My 6th one, the second to last one, my 5th game, my bot lane was Yorick Mordekaiser. They fed hard.
Was this old Yorick?
No, it was
Okay.
the New York. This was just last season. Towards the end of the season is when, or actually it was like middle of the season when I got Diamond. But yeah, it was the last game, 2-2 in my promos, and I'm like, all right, this is it. And then my bot lane locked in Yorick and Mordekaiser, and I just knew it was over.
Oh, that's
They did
too
not
funny.
do well. They did not do well.
We've all hit that, especially at the silver one, bronze one, gold one, that echelon
Yeah.
of elo. It's always really, really
Yeah.
rough what you see.
And these were Diamond 5 players, so they got to be a Diamond, while my top lane redacted ass got to sit in Plat 1.
That's funny.
Ouch.
Yeah,
Yeah.
feels bad.
Jank is fun, but nobody knows how to play against it. Did you guys see the announcement for how they're trying to figure out how to get rid of marksman or enable a lack of marksman?
No.
I
It was
did
a-
not see that.
Dev blog a couple days ago. The lead gameplay, not Medler, some lady. Anyway, yeah, she's like, yeah, this year we're gonna finally figure out a way to make it so you're not required to have a marksman
Oh.
in a comp.
I think she is way in over her head, and I personally think that's just not like, I don't think that should be like a focus of theirs. Like, me personally, like, I think it's okay that you want to have a marksman on your team, because that's like, I don't know, like a ranged character. That makes sense that you want that on your team. I don't think it's I don't know, I just don't see it as a harming thing to the game right now.
Well, I don't think they are necessarily. I mean, they hate that it's mandatory, I think. They hate that anything is mandatory in the game. I think is the idea.
Yeah, I did see the devlog talking about they want to free up champions to be flexible in roles. For example, Zyra and Morgana jungle was kind of intentional, and they're trying to do that more. I don't remember which rioter it was, but I responded to his tweet, and he was asking like, "Hey guys, why do you like Lux as support?" And I was like, "Ooh, type, you know." And I definitely think they're moving towards figuring that out, but I missed the AD carry part of that. So, yeah, that would be interesting. I think it's my small little mind can't comprehend how that's possible, and it makes me scared that it's going to break the game. Because if you don't need an AD carry, that means that you have enough initiation and dive that if you want to play an AD carry, you're probably going to get like, it's the meme of AD carry 2017 all over again, you know?
Yeah, I think that's the main problem, is that if you do get to a place where melees are good enough that you can have 5 on a team and make it work, doesn't that just mean that marksmen are in place that they're never worth taking? Like, that should, because if melees, like, I don't know, like the innate range from marksmen means that they can be technically weaker powers wise than melee and still be a better pick than them. So that means the melee has to be exponentially stronger than that marksman to actually be more viable than them in a team comp.
Yeah.
Well, right, but like for example, they had Ziggs last year, right?
He's ranged though.
Well, he's not
I
an
know,
AD carry though.
But he's not a marksman.
Yeah, okay. I guess so. Probably more what they're thinking towards. What the only way to shore that up without making melees just obscene is like mages that can fill the like DPS role.
Right.
Like a Cassiopeia or something, someone that's like a machine gun mage. Or maybe not, maybe they don't need that. I'm excited for them to try it. I personally don't mind Riot breaking the game because I feel like, hey, we have 5 bans now. I don't care. And I get to play some of that brokenness, so I don't mind it so much.
As long as marksmen stop taking Relic Shield, I'll be happy.
Yeah, that is happening.
That was making bot lane can be such a snooze fest sometimes, and I understand the logic behind it. But personally, I mean, it's pretty obvious. I play Renekton. I like to play aggressive, so having a bot lane where the AD carry just takes Relic Shield and plays back makes me just tired and bored, and then I end up making a dumb play because I'm bored.
Worm, don't you want to play Renekton in the bot lane now too? You can take him everywhere.
You can do it.
I believe. Hey, let's do it. We'll play Renekton Leona today, or Renekton and Yorick. I know you love Yorick in the bot lane, right?
God, no. I'll do Renekton Leona, but we need that initiation from Leona. The problem with the Yorick Mordekaiser lane that I have on my team was they didn't have any way to get on top of people.
Yeah,
that sounds melee that can straight initiate. You know?
No, that is just a lore matchup. Like not a real matchup. It's just purely lore.
So sad.
All right, Ruuku, is that all you got for us?
I think so.
Cool. All right. Thanks for stopping by, man.
That was good to talk to you.
Certainly.
All right, cool.
Thanks for having me.
Sorry, Blake. You can't. There's a line, man.
I said I had a question in the line.
Yeah, LowSpice said it before, though.
Fine.
You're not even supposed to be here. Go to your placements.
Yeah. My question was, what do you
What?
do when you're 2 and 4 in your placement? You're just getting anal, and you skipped recording the show, and now you're depressed about it.
Commit
Yeah,
Sudoku.
you guys have any advice on that?
You probably should. If I were Blake, hypothetically, I would probably go bother people on a live show somehow about my problems. Oh, yeah.
Oh, for a friend. Okay. I would get out your insults notebook, and I would come up with new ones because yours are pretty weak, to be honest.
Right.
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
You could spend your night doing that.
Blake, what are you playing, man? Wait, are you trying to play every single champion as support like me?
No, I mean I
Not exactly
have
what I'm
done
trying to
that,
do, but
not on purpose. I'm just, like my champion pool for support is stupid large because I've been playing it for however many years, so it's not like I'm trolling or not focusing when I play multiple champions. But that being said, let's see. I've played a couple of games of Thresh, a couple of games of Blitz, Gragas, and Tom Kench. And I won on Thresh and I won on Blitz, and I've lost every other game. Well, a friend has. Anyway. The friend I'm asking about.
You must be very close with this friend to know all these intimate details.
Yeah. Well, I'm trying to get him not to end it all, so I have to know what's going on. You see, so that way that friend doesn't, find a large knife and disembowel himself with a Z-shaped pattern, as was suggested earlier.
Mm-hmm.
I will say this, actually, advice for your friend. Placements kind of can be important and kind of not. And on the ultimate scheme of things, if you place in bronze 5 and you're a gold player, you'll get to gold. If you're a bronze player, you get placed silver 1, you'll probably end up back at silver 4 before you decide to not do ranked anymore because you're scared to see bronze again. Like, it's 10 games in a ranked season that anyone that's really trying to climb or anything, make significant leaps in, you probably are playing at least 50, 80, 100 games plus, maybe 300 games. So suck it up.
I'm gonna answer my own question.
Your friend's question, right?
Yeah, well, it was my question, but for a friend.
Okay.
So I'm gonna tell you guys what I told my friend, and we'll go from there. Right? So, placements really don't matter all that much. It's just a starting point. You'll be fine. Don't kill yourself. And the one deciding factor in every game that my friend lost was that somebody went toxic in every single game that was lost. So
sounds like your friend might be the issue. Maybe they're the toxic one.
No, I was reading their chat. They weren't toxic. They were
Okay.
actually remarkably supportive, and had a lot of map presence. I mean, they were everywhere.
Yeah, your friend sounds like a good player.
Really handsome too. Surprisingly good looking.
Do you know him?
Oh, I'm just assuming.
You described him really
the
well.
story.
But working class professional, a family man. But yeah, no, they couldn't pull a win out of their ass if it was, in there, and they had the ability to pull it out.
Yeah, at the end of the day, a 10-0 diamond player a 10-0 bronze player will still get placed lower than an 0-10 diamond player from last season. Your biggest deciding factor.
I hope that holds true.
We're doing.
Factor is
It's
your
an
elo from last
experiment.
season.
This is for the podcast. This is for the benefit of our listeners. That is why your friend is losing on purpose, because he cares about you, and in turn cares about the podcast.
Cares about the podcast, right? And
Yeah.
that's why my friend didn't record tonight. Jesus, error in judgment. Okay, well, you guys have fun. I just wanted to round that out, maybe throw in some levity so I don't go insane coaching my friend. All right, peace out.
All right, see ya, man.
Have a good one.
Good luck to your friend, of course.
To the friend.
All right, LowSpice, are you ready to be unmuted?
After that slight speed bump.
Yep. All right, unmuting. Hello.
Hey, what's up, guys?
Hey.
Wow, that was kind of weird. We responded exactly the same way. This is kind of creepy.
Same person.
You guys
Synergy.
watch Happy Days? Sound like the Fonz.
Hey. I don't know how the thumb thing. I just kind of twitched awkwardly on the stream.
Maybe don't do that ever again.
Yep, I'm planning on avoiding it as much as I can. So yeah, LowSpice, welcome. What do you want to talk about?
I don't know anything really, but I need to make a public apology to Manny because I feel like I was a little rough on him in my private message on your guys' Facebook.
Oh, was that you?
Yeah, I didn't mean for it to come off that bad, but it kind of did. Because I work in a paint booth on an assembly line, so I'm painting trucks and typing in between. So But yeah, that was me. I didn't mean for it to come off that bad.
Oh, I think we kind of exaggerated it and it's just become a gag. So actually, I want to come here and thank you for that.
Yeah, every time I'm listening to the episode now and you guys like Blake starts going in on him and messing with him, I'm like, I started that. That was me.
It's okay. Manny just became like the resonant pick-on caster for some reason. I don't know how it happened, but I'm glad because I was worried it might be me since I was newer, but Manny came in and took that role, so I'm very happy for him.
That's my fault. My bad, guys.
We're gonna have to call this like the LowSpice effect. You know, we have to name it.
LowSpice effect.
Yeah, you know, like when there's a rule, like you're like, what did that rule come from? There obviously is a story behind it. You know, it's kind of like that. It's like, oh, a classic LowSpice. You know,
It's like the insect.
Yeah.
Hey, funny you mentioned that. I play a lot of Lee Sin, and I hate myself for it.
Ooh, so, since we have you on here and you play Lee Sin, what rank are you and how are you feeling about Lee Sin this season?
I did my placements. I went 7-3. I got
Well,
silver,
nice.
silver 5, which is kind of surprising because at the end of the season, I was ranked silver 5. At the end of postseason, I was silver 2, 100 LP. Lost that out. I tilted and was demoted back down to silver 4. And then I did my placements. I got silver 5, and I feel bad for a lot of the guys who were like gold 1s, and they're talking about like on their pages that they got placed into bronze, and I'm just like, huh, I got lucky.
Now you deserve it. Yeah. But yeah, seriously, placements are just like there's so many like weird numbers that we don't know what goes on. Like Riot could be just laughing at us and like rolling dice after we take placements. Like placements mean nothing, but like we don't know how the numbers work, and it's
No,
really weird.
I completely agree. Like, I've been playing since season 2, and I remember in season 4, I must have tanked my MMR so bad back in season 3 that I went 10-0 on Pantheon and was placed bronze 5.
Oh.
Wow.
Yeah, so I've been working pretty hard to get it up, but the one thing that I've noticed is games played. Like I went through like my last few seasons and I noticed the amount of games that I've played, and I look at how many games a challenger plays, and they've played like almost 5 times the amount of games I've played in one season. So
Yeah.
it's like,
Yep.
and they have like a 51% win rate. So like I'm like I just need to play more, and that's what it is.
Yep. And the whole like idea of the challenger being challenger is Riot's thought of you are trying to challenge a spot into the LCS. So with that frame in mind, you have someone that's probably almost like a full-time job training and grinding the ladders to be challenger. So like you have to think about that. If you're gold, even plat, like you might not be grinding as much as those guys that are putting ridiculous amounts of games to climb that high, you know, and gain that experience. So yeah, having 200 games probably tells you where you are if you haven't made progress. But I've played like I think I've had seasons where I've hit like 300, 400 games. I just never found a point that I plateaued, and I was like, wow, I still need to grind this many more games to continue climbing, because I was like at silver and I climbed to like plat or something like that, and it requires a lot of games, and it's kind of ridiculous.
It is, but you know I think gold or plat may be doable this season.
Yeah, man.
I definitely think it's doable. But to get to Worm's question, I think Lee Sin's a pretty valid pick, but I think a lot of it depends on your team, and I think the team needs to realize what you bring to the comp, and I don't think people in my MMR really understand, like, if you're a Blitzcrank and you hook somebody, everybody's like, oh, Blitz, just hook this guy, we need to, like, mollywop him, right?
Mm-hmm.
But if you're Lee Sin and you kick somebody, you flash kick somebody, or you insect kick someone, and you serve them up on a platter, they're just like, what's going on?
Yeah, he can definitely be pretty tough. I've actually seen a lot of people are struggling with Lee Sin right now because the big one I've seen that's countering him recently is Kha'Zix. Kha'Zix used to be that he would outscale you, but early game you could punish him. But right now it's fairly common for Kha'Zix to be able to duel Lee Sin early, which means that Lee Sin loses out on the early game that he has against someone who scales harder than him. But he's just such a fun champion that I will probably never stop playing him. He's just way too much fun to make plays on.
I will
And,
never stop feeding on Lee Sin as well. I'll never.
The one thing that I love most about Lee Sin is it's hard. Like you guys were talking about champion burnout. It's just so hard to get burned out on Lee Sin because there's
Right.
just so much to do and so much to learn on him.
Yeah,
Mhm.
if you are able to use his quick kit to its full extent, you are doing so many different things in a game. And every game, if there's squishy characters, then you can insect them, or you can go full damage and just straight up kill them. Or if there's a ton of tanks, then it changes the way you want to use your ult or how you want to navigate through a team fight and stuff like that. So yeah, I definitely think he's someone that's super, super flexible in like everything you can do, and pretty much is sees LCS play basically based on if they nerf his numbers too hard. Or like you don't see him in LCS if they nerf his numbers too hard. Because utility wise he can do kind of anything and everything.
Yeah, he can be overwhelming if they give him a little too much.
Yes. Totally
Yeah.
agree.
No, I don't know what you're talking about feeding, Sam. If you check the Lola community games last night, which you casted, I popped off. On
Sorry,
Lee Sin.
I meant
Thank you very
I
much.
will I shouldn't have said two or as well. I personally will never stop playing Lee Sin and never stop feeding with that champion because I will never get good at him and I can't stop playing him in like normals and community games. It's really bad.
That's what practice tools for now, man.
Yeah, you're right. Didn't help.
I do a lot of flash kicking in practice tool. A lot of times, whenever like I'm waiting for friends to get out of the game or like I have some kind of lull, I'll just jump into practice tool, put up 3 of the little bots, and just kick them around at each other while flashing as Lee Sin. It's
I do
really
that
good
too.
practice.
You mentioned Heisman. He has a pretty good like little tutorial video that you go in the practice tool and you
hmm
practice these situations that he shows you how to set up in the game,
Mm-hmm.
and it's pretty rough. I'm not gonna lie, and he does that without like smart casting. So kudos to
Yeah.
that guy.
Oh,
I also
wow.
saw the video that you were talking about with Trundle, and I played 2 games with Trundle today, and I think the issue that the other person Ruukuegg was having, I think he was going press the attack, but he was taking more tankier options like the Kindle Gem option.
Cinderhawk.
Yeah, Cinderhawk. And from what I was experiencing, Blood Razor into Trinity Force will get you ahead pretty far, and then you can build into your tankier options. And I had some success with that. So
Yeah, it seems like early because of your base stats and your ultimate, it's a lot more beneficial to go some damage first to just be able to 1v1 people on Trundle. Whereas
Yeah,
if the damage isn't there from your abilities and stuff like that, you really need some of those items early game.
he's pretty nasty. But like Heisman was talking about, there are a lot of better options right now than Lee Sin, and a lot of things that people do what he does better, and you don't need,
More easily.
yeah, more easily, and you don't need the mechanical knowledge to do it. Like J4 comes to mind, Kha'Zix comes to mind. A lot of those guys come to mind.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Actually, Worm and LowSpice, I would love your input on this. For Blood Razor junglers that go Trinity Force, like Jax or the Trundle that we were talking about, do you finish Blood Razor before you start building your Trinity Force? Because, Trinity Force is a really expensive item, and I feel like it could be one of those situations where you actually start building maybe the Sheen before you even finish your Blood Razor. What do you guys think about that?
I think it depends.
I think
On
it
the-
depends on the team comp, because like if they have guys with a lot of HP, then maybe finish the Blood Razor so you can get that % health ticket on them. And,
Yeah.
and you would finish that first, and if you're behind, then I would go into like a tankier option instead of going that damage option, because it is an expensive item. Because I see a lot of people, especially like Nasus in top lane, who get behind and they're still trying to build their Trinity Force when they have their Sheen, and they should probably go Frozen Gauntlet instead.
Sure.
But that's my opinion. Like I've always learned, like especially from like watching Dyrus back in the day, like if you're behind, you should probably build defensive stats instead of trying to make plays and get ahead with damage.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think it's kind of hard to say for sure. I personally don't play a lot of junglers that go Blood Razor, so I don't have enough experience on them where I have a preference. But I think it really depends on what you're trying to do with that champion. Someone like Jax or Trundle, that Blood Razor can give them like the attack speed alone, coupled with their abilities, helps them a ton. Like especially Jax, because you're just that third auto does so much damage once you get your ultimate. But I don't know them well enough to definitely say, oh, you should go this one first or that one. It really might depend on what you're trying to do. Are you fighting more? Maybe you want to get Trinity Force and get more stats for fighting. Are you doing a lot of clearing and like people aren't fighting as much? Maybe you should go Blood Razor and keep clearing your jungle for more XP and gold. I think it's a game to game kind of thing.
Gotcha. Cool. Thanks for the input. Anything else you want to like talk about, LowSpice?
Did you guys watch the LCS over the weekend?
Yes, I did. First
I
week.
did.
Super exciting. I didn't watch Europe or a lot of games in Europe, but I think I eventually got to all the NA games. It's fun.
I watched all the NA games as they were happening. I just wanted to watch like TSM because I'm a TSM fanboy.
Oh
Same.
boy.
They got trashed pretty hard, and then
Rest in peace.
I think I'm gonna become a 100 Thieves fanboy because they're from Cleveland, Ohio, and I live in Ohio. So
Wait. So you're gonna change? You're gonna change because TSM is doing poorly? Is that what you're telling me?
no, not because TSM lost. Like I'm still gonna root for TSM, but I definitely have a home team to root for now. And plus they got the Moo and they got Meteos.
Yeah, I'm actually totally on board with 100 Thieves. I think I've been looking for a team to take my loyalty as of last year.
Take your loyalty.
Yeah, take it. I want them to seize it from me. Because yeah, I was a huge Cloud9 fan when they were like Gen 1. Cloud9 was like Lemon, Sneaky, Balls, Meteos, and High. But then I was like, wait, what makes you loyal to a team besides like them winning all the time? And that's why TSM has so many fans. That's why CLG did. That's why and then like players move around, so like what keeps you on a team? And now that we're franchised and I feel like brands are actually starting to become something apart from just their players, I really like what Nadeshot's personality. And I like the 100 Thieves roster, and I also like that they're coming in kind of underdog-ish, although they had a really good week 1. And we just actually, for the Eye of the Watchers podcast that Manny and I do, and actually Rhino was on this last episode, we did power rankings for NA after the week 1, so you should go check that out once that's out, probably tomorrow. plug.
Yeah,
I'll probably do that while I'm at work. I have something to listen to.
Gotcha.
I kind of am trying to find my second team. I think it's going to be Golden Guardians for me.
Oh,
I will always be TSM #1, no matter how good or bad they do. I live in Michigan, so I'm a Detroit Lions fan, so I'm used to losing. I can deal with if they have a bad year. But
I know the feeling, dude. Every Ohio team's like that.
True.
Except for like my football team's the 49ers, and they haven't been good recently either.
But I really like Lorlo, and I really want Lorlo to do well. So ever since like I watched was it Rebirth? Yeah, Rebirth from Team Liquid, and Lorlo's been on the team. I've always liked him as a player, and I really hope he does well. And I want to see some NA talent. There's plenty of NA talent that has proven themselves, but I really would like him to do well and prove his worth.
where do you think Golden Guardians is going to end up this season, like before playoffs?
I think they're going to be like middle of the pack. They're not going to. I wouldn't be surprised if they miss playoffs, to be honest.
Yeah, I think we rated them like 9th, 8th or 9th actually.
I don't think their roster is super strong. I think they have a lot to be desired, but I really hope. I have a soft spot for Lorlo. I think he's a good guy. I think
me too.
Like watching him grow in the league scene, and like he just seems very genuine. So I have a soft place for him.
Cool.
So while you're watching the LCS, did you notice that? Well, in my opinion, like that the junglers didn't have as much impact on the game as they normally do.
I actually did notice that. And I think part of it is because we're so early in the season with a lot of roster shakeups that laning means a whole lot. That if you win or lose lane, like that can decide the game faster because there's not as much macro synergy for these teams yet. So like especially talking about TSM looked like a lost dog this weekend when it got to late game. They had a lot of missteps in the late game.
They
And-
definitely looked like a puppy getting kicked to death. Is what they looked like.
And I think personally, I think it's okay. I think a lot, of course, being TSM fans, they jump on the, oh wow, we're so bad, we lost 2 games in a row. Like they can't believe that we would start 0-2, but I think they will be fine. I think they'll find their footing, but I think that right now it's just very early game dictated, even as far as pro gaming goes, just because of the fact that like these teams are still finding their synergy with each other and really finding how to play the late game.
Yeah, I'll say with like what is it? 9 players are with the same team that they've been with since last season split. Yeah,
no team had more than 3 players return.
Yeah, so I mean, just like you have synergy and roster mix-ups. On top of that, it's the first week of the LCS, so everyone's a little scared. There were some big changes. Also, the meta looks like you had really, really boring bot lanes that were all taking relic shields, overheal, and everyone had stopwatch. So it's like junglers are usually the ones that are turret diving, helping turret dive, and it's hard to turret dive when everyone has stopwatch on your team too. So that's really complicated. So junglers, I don't know what a jungler could do, when that kind of stuff happens. That being said, when the 8.2 hits the LCS in 2 weeks now, I think. Is it like a 2-week delay or 1 week? I can't remember. Yeah. So once that happens, we'll probably still see a lot of stopwatches, but the relic shield for AD carries is probably not going to be there, and Sightstone has changed. So whenever you mess with vision, or Sightstone was removed, whenever you mess with vision, that could either hurt, that can really slow down games too, because back in season 2 or 3, when I think it was 3 or 4 actually, when there was like CLG EU, there were games that went forever because you could place pink wards everywhere and no one would do anything without vision. So hopefully we don't see that.
It was the team that had the most pressure could place down the most pink wards, and I remember like the entire map being lit up like a Christmas tree. It wasn't just like one corner of the map, it was like the entire map was lit up because there was no wards weren't limited at the time, and the only way you could get rid of pink wards was if you had a pink ward.
Yeah, oh yeah, that's right. Ugh. And then people pick, like Frogman was picking Anivia, so you just clear a wave and just turtle until 70 minutes until you hopefully find that fight.
Anivia.
Yeah,
Froggen would play Lisa in mid.
I miss the Kazakhs mid. Those are good days.
Do you remember Evelyn mid?
Kazakh mid.
He pulled that out, didn't he? I can't remember who pulled that out.
It was before Cloud9, I'm pretty sure.
Huh. I vaguely remember it. You're sparking some stuff in my brain.
I think it was season 2.
Huh.
It was during playoffs during season 2, I'm pretty sure, or maybe like the early stages of like Worlds.
Gotcha. Yeah, it's been a while.
Yeah, it has been.
Cool. All right. Is there anything else, LowSpice?
No, man. Just came on to say hi. Appreciate you guys letting me on here.
Yeah, thanks for coming on and stopping by, buddy.
All right, well, you guys have a good night, man.
Yep, you too.
You too, man. Good to talk.
Yep.
All right. Jaykazz, you ready to jump on?
Hopefully he's still here. He said he wanted to ask a question, but we have been going on for quite a while, so.
Yeah, I think this will be the last one unless someone is dying, which I wouldn't mind either. All right.
Wait, you wouldn't mind if someone was dying?
That came out wrong. Jaykazz, you here? You are unmuted.
Speak to us.
Hey, there you are.
Hey, back at it again.
Yeah, I wanted to get that thumbs up again, boys.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
Twitch. That thumbs up Twitch.
How's it going, Jaykazz?
Good, man.
That's good. That's good. What do you want to talk about today?
First off, anyone who doesn't believe it, I did see Wormlax's Lee Sin game yesterday, and it was amazing.
Man, that just totally came out wrong. I totally believe in Wormlax's Lee Sin, all right? I'm sorry, guys. We get hate mail.
Second of all, so you guys are talking about LCS. I wanted to ask you something.
Mm-hmm.
How's your fantasy team doing?
Oh, you are just asking me because I lost you today, didn't you? All right, last week.
My team is undefeated. Anyways,
It's week one. Come on. And we both had the lowest scores in the league.
Moving on. What I was gonna say. So, you know how you were talking about your project to try and win a game with all those champions.
Yeah,
Which for me is a terrible idea.
it is a terrible idea. I do it for you guys.
I am not good with new champions. So I finally started climbing when I was like, I'm not gonna try new champions all the time. I'm
Mhm.
gonna limit my playing
Smart
pool.
man.
So I play like 4 to 5 champions top, 4 to 5 mid, and I'm pretty good at those roles. And like I'd say slightly above average support. I say this as like last game top I got smushed, but when no one checks on match history,
I
it
feel
goes
you.
by that. But so I play like learn to a couple support champions for when I get autofilled there. But my problem is I get autofilled a lot to jungle and ADC.
Ugh.
Ooh.
And ADC, I'm the worst ADC. And if I can't switch out, I get reported for feeding because no one believes that an 0-16 ADC is trying their best. So my question is this. My two worst roles are jungle and ADC. So what are some champions that you guys would say that are mechanically easy, can help your team, you can play safe in those roles? And I have tried some of these simple champs. Yeah. Warwick and Sejuani, I have not done well with.
So for jungle, I would actually recommend. Oh, frick! I'm losing my train of thought right now. I think Jarvan is one that's good. That's like sits on a good lineup. He has some skillful points to him, but he's also not super hard. It's very straightforward that you want to EQ in and ult someone who's squishy. But with that knockup and the combination of your flag and drag, you can learn how to do some things that other people aren't as good at doing. So and Jarvan has a very easy clear because all you have to, like, he has strong AD and he has a shield. I just have never really had much of a problem with clearing as Jarvan, and I pretty much only play Lee Sin when I play jungle. Every other jungler, I have a really hard time clearing, but J4 I can do. I can do J4 too. So I would recommend Jarvan because not only can he use his ultimate to like jump in and like just take down a squishy, but also like if you learn how to use it to peel for your ADC, like but you have to be very careful with this. Let me preface this because you can also screw over your AD carry by getting them stuck in your ultimate with you. But if you can use your ultimate well to ult bruisers who want to try to dive into your backline or just kind of separate a terrain for them so they can kite away, like you can do some really interesting stuff with Jarvan, even though he's a very straightforward champion. And I think that makes for a good champion to like play at a high like skill rate, but not all it doesn't have to be super hard.
Play at a high skill rate despite having a low skill.
Yeah.
Fake it till you make
That's
it.
what I need.
I like the Jarvan pick just because one thing as a jungler, being able to gank easily is really, really important. And Jarvan's just able to like gank very easily almost in any situation. You just have to make sure you hit your EQ, and it's a relatively easy thing to hit. You can miss it and it can be dodged, but compared to other ganks like Lee Sin, I think it's much easier to hit than a Lee Sin Q and stuff like that. That being said, I would also suggest anyone that you can just peel for your carries with that have gank potential. And the big one that comes to mind that I'm very biased towards is Maokai. Maokai is not banned often. He's not picked heavily either, even though I'm pretty sure he's pretty strong in the top lane still. But in the jungle role, he has a pretty easy clear. Just like watch someone clear with him once and you kind of get a few tricks out of it, like how to use your saplings and stuff like that. And or like how to time your saplings in the bush for like the first blue buff or red buff and stuff like that. But he is so easy to gank for. Just do 2 buffs, like do your red, wolf, and blue, or blue, wolf, and red, or whatever it is, and then you just flash W on the mid laner. Like that's all you have to do because it's a point and click. And if your mid laner has a lot of damage or has enough CC, that person is dead. It's so easy to do, and that's like literally how I climbed. And then you keep farming, and then once team fights happens, all you do is just peel for your AD carry. All you do is just peel for your AD carry or your mid laner, whoever's fed, because no one peels. No one peels. So if you're able to do that, your bad AD carry or your bad carry that keeps mispositioning is now fine because they have a huge beefy Maokai making sure that Riven can't just fully combo them like from 100 to 0.
Yeah, I think I've said it a lot in this on this podcast, and I really 100% believe it. Like that overdoing the peel as a tank or even a bruiser is like really important. Even on people who would rather engage, I think peeling can be important sometimes because even if you engage and kill 1 or 2 people, if your AD carry dies right away and you suddenly lose a consistent damage base from your team, like you just end up losing the fight overall. Your AD carry is so important and integral to your team that just keeping them alive is huge. Even if they don't play it perfectly, if they're alive, they keep auto attacking, keep doing damage. That's just huge.
Yeah. And then the other one I would suggest is also Rammus. He's just really easy and he ganks so well, and basically wards are almost useless against Rammus because he just zips by them too fast anyway. So I think Rammus is a good one. He's singular enough too that it's just pretty easy to just team fight with him as well.
Yep.
But 80 carries, right? That was another one?
Yes, 80 carries is probably, like, I would say I'm below average jungler, but 80 carry ADC is like by far worse. That's the worst shape. So I need someone easy, 0 skill, and
Sorry, doesn't exist.
There is one that is I think is easier than most. I think a lot of people say Ashe because she seems easy, but I feel that Ashe is hard because you have to position fairly well because she has no escape and you can get caught out really easily. My prefer to suggest to people is Tristana. Tristana is a good enough champion that she doesn't get held down too much early game. Like you can have an early game presence, but she scales so dang hard into the late game that you can play her not that well, and then you get 3 items and suddenly you're half healthing people with 1 rapid fire cannon auto from way too far away because your auto attack range is scaled. Like that champion can just get going and take over a game after having an abysmal early game. So I think that Tristana is a really good one to learn, and she's very forgiving with her rocket jump. If you learn how to use it to dodge CC, it's even more forgiving. So
yeah, and then you have her ult to push people away too. It's not just like a damage thing to finish people off. You can just like, oh, Maokai jumped on me, ult him away. So that's also really good. It's tricky to last hit with her, I will say that, because you'll almost always be pushing because of her E. Is it explosive shot? That's what it's called?
Yes.
That thing makes it really tricky to CS under tower and not push too hard. So you just have to be aware with that. But I like the Tristana pick. The other one I would say is maybe Caitlyn. Although there are a lot of nuances with being a really good Caitlyn, but just because her auto attack range is so long, it's a lot easier to trade in lane without being at huge danger. Her net is a nice escape It's not the best escape, but as long as you hit it, like you should get away because they are slowed and you are further damage and you get a headshot proc, right? You get a headshot proc from hitting the net, right? I think that's
Yes.
true. Yeah, and she's just safe. Yeah, I like her. I think those would be the two. I'm
Yeah, I have to agree with that.
trying to think if there's anyone else. I'm looking at the list. Yeah, like I like Ash too, but the thing is, you have to learn to play her so scared because she has
Yeah.
no escape, and that can be really tough when you don't have peel as well. If people aren't caring about you at all.
Yeah,
But
she can be hard to play in solo queue, and with her Q, like I really like her. Like she scales a lot better now because of her Q. Like her Q does a lot of damage late game, but you just have to play so far behind your team. Like you have to play very careful. If you make one misstep, she gets punished so hard.
yeah, but I guess the best way is just asking someone to trade and be like, I am horrible at AD carry. Please don't make me play it.
Well, and also Vayne, right? I've heard she's mechanically easy. So
Do
I'm
some
assuming
vein
we're adding
spotting.
that to the, to the
Oh,
list.
okay. I got another story time because I played a few of my placements games, you know? So I was like, I've seen a lot of veins, and I'm like, oh God, stop, because they're just vein spot. Every single one has vein spotted. If you don't know what vein spotting is, it was a game made up because all veins keep going way too ham and killing themselves. So it's like a scoring system where like, oh, if your vein dies by herself and blames her team, 5 points. If your vein ults and flashes in to 5 members, 20 points. So that's vein spotting if you're not aware. Anyway, so I'm playing. I don't even remember who I'm playing. We're playing in lane. I play really well as a support. Vayne is doing awesome. Oh, I think I was playing Tarek. Vayne played really well. I'm like, oh, this is a good sign. She goes 6-0 in lane. We're wrecking it. We take first turret. I'm like, oh, maybe we won't Vayne spot. So we get that first turret. We go into mid lane. First thing she does is flash ults into 5 people and dies immediately.
She
And I was like,
6-0, bro. What the hell?
yeah. So she ended up like, I don't remember what she ended up, but I looked at the score at one point and she was 8-6. I was like, oh, what is going on? But luckily we were so far ahead it almost didn't matter, but she kept dying like first or second in team fights. And I'm just like, hey Vayne, like I think if you just hit the front line, like we'll be fine because you're so fed, you're doing so well, like trying to keep a positive note to it. Like we'll win every single team fight and I'll be peeling for you anyway. And I don't really know what happened. She just kept dying the rest of the game, but we ended up winning, so I was happy. But oh my gosh, I just want to rip my hair out with that vein. I was like, oh, stop flashing.
I hope you reported the support if they weren't peeling her. That sounds like that's what the problem was.
Yeah, you're probably right. I'm just dumb.
It's
Well,
always
that
the
brings
support's fault.
me to actually my next thing if we got time for
Yeah,
it.
sure.
How do you guys balance? I'm curious how you guys balance, like, because if you're in solo queue, like pings are all well and good, but a split-second decision to engage, how do you balance your optimism with your team following up? Because like I mean, everyone said, like we've all said, like a blitz grab, that is easy to see. You know you're going in on that. But if you're like Elise in or even like Shen going for a flash taunt, how do you guys decide I'm going to trust my team to back me up on this? Like I tend to go over optimistic sometimes, I think, and be like, my team's going to be the best. They have my back. And then I go and I die. And everyone's like, what the hell is wrong with you? What did you see? And I'm like, I taunted 3 people and you guys didn't come with me. So maybe I was in the wrong, but I thought we had this if you guys would come with me. So I'm curious how you guys balance your faith in your teammate with, I don't think they're going to see what I see.
We're going to have 2 different answers, I feel like, since the 2 different elos we're at.
I'm hoping you guys argue with each other.
You can go ahead, Sam. You start us off.
Sure. So there's a few things I want to address. One, as someone that has been low elo, I don't know if gold's still low elo or not, but
Yes.
that had to.
It's low elo.
I would say it's medium elo. Okay. Anyways.
That's exactly what a gold player would say.
Anyways. Oh, I'm totally like just flustered now. Shit. What was I gonna say? Yeah. As someone that like was in bronze and started getting really frustrated with teammates and stuff like that, and I actually spent time looking at my replays, I suddenly realized like, oh, that 5-man Amumu ult meant nothing because no one was like a screen and a half in my vicinity, like my teammates. So that was like, congratulations, I got a highlight. I got 5-man Amumu ult. That means absolutely nothing because ultimately it was a bad decision. So especially as I like to play a lot of engaged champs and initiators as supports and junglers, I had to learn quickly that even though I got a good engage, it wasn't actually a good engage because my team couldn't do anything about that. So having to look at replays and realizing like, oh, like I have something to fix on my own like mindset and just like ability and awareness, I guess. Awareness is probably the best word. Building my awareness on where my team is at. That helped me get better initiations because suddenly I was like, oh, it's not that my teammate's not following up. It's that they don't see me because they shouldn't follow up and they shouldn't have seen me because I was way away from them. So that's one thing. The second thing is pinging a lot. When I was mentioning about playing Maokai jungle, I would ping like I'm on my way or like ping the target like multiple times before I got to lane. And then as I W the target, I would actually ping on that target too, which I don't do anymore, whether that's laziness or maybe my elo at a place where I don't need to. I'm not really sure. That actually helped a lot and I found a lot of success, but it takes more time because you do have to press another button and ping. So that's difficult. So I don't know if I want to suggest that super heavily, but pinging is super, super important when you go into engages. It's really, really, really important when you're an engaging champion.
Yeah, I that we will agree on. I ping a ton. Like, as a top lane main and someone who likes to play really aggressive early, a lot of times I'll do pre-6 ganks into mid lane, and I will, like, as I'm just leaving top lane, ping the mid lane like 5 times that I'm on the way. Like, pinging that you are going to be there and you're going to engage in the time coming is like huge. One of the big things I try to do if I think that I'm going to go for something that might be kind of crazy, like a Lee Sin kick or like a flash taunt or some kind of flash play, I try to ping my own flash or even type quick in chat, if I see this opening, I'm going for it. Like, make it very abundantly clear that if you see the opening, you're going to go for it. And I pull the trigger a lot of the time. And it gets me killed probably more than it should to just pull the trigger, but especially on someone like Renekton, where if I find the right timing to flash in on an AD carry, I can sometimes just one-shot them. It's really up to me to decide when I need to jump in and if my team is going to be able to help me or not. If I jump in at a point where they absolutely could have helped me and they didn't, I'm not one to like yell at my team like, what are you doing? Because it's really not helpful. It doesn't matter. They're just gonna like argue with you. But it's hard not to and like think that, because it's like, man, if someone had followed up with me here, like we really could have like gotten this kill here. I really wish they would have played it this way. But all that wishing does is like make you a bitter player, and then you leave and go on to the next game, and you're just like holding that with you for the next game. So it's really like about mindset to just like be able to continually pull the trigger even after other games where you didn't get help after pulling the trigger. Because at the end of the day, those flash engages are what win games. You don't win a game by just sitting with your team and waiting.
Yeah, I noticed I started winning a lot more when I just like the person who makes the engage, I just trust them to go with them.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's true, and I'm always hoping the people that I'm with have learned that and will come with me, because otherwise, you look stupid to them, and you also think your teammates are stupid. So it's bad all around. But yeah, well, those are what I wanted to ask you guys. So thanks a lot, guys.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for stopping by, Jaykazz.
Yeah, great to have you on.
All right. I actually wanted to say another thing about like these kind of topics, because it's really, really tricky. When you talk about high elo stuff, it's a lot easier because you can crunch numbers and you have people playing more optimally. But in low elo, when people complain about stuff, one, people are really dismissive about it. Be like, oh, it's not you. Like, oh, blah, blah, blah. We hear this all the time. Like, get better, scrub. Like, you hear that kind of like advice. And if you're really, really serious about these kind of topics, I really suggest like going at your replays and kind of really trying to keep an honest track of like how often these things happen. Like, I'm always engaging and no one's following up. Go back at your games, look at your engagements, and see how many actually are not being followed up. Because I really think there's a thing called negativity bias, and you remember the bad things more than the good things. So that one AFK that you have, you're going to be like, oh my gosh, I had 5 AFKs during my promos and blah, blah, blah. I didn't have any AFKs in my promo. I had one, and that was on the enemy team, I think. So it benefited me. Like, I only had one, while people always complain about AFKs and all these kind of other things. And if you actually keep track of it, you find out like, oh, I am engaging and no one's following up, even though it is a good engage. And if you actually have the data to back that up, and you're not going to get like 100 games, unfortunately, but you're going to have like a small sample size of like 8 games, and you saw like, oh, a lot of my engages are really not getting followed up, then, you know, like, don't go for those engages. That's your answer. Unfortunately, if you want to win the game with your backed up quote unquote data, again, it's small sample size, so it's kind of difficult. But then you suddenly have the evidence like, I really can't do insect plays on Lee Sin because just my team's not able to follow up on it. I know that because I've seen that in my games, and apparently it just doesn't work in silver elo, right? Like, you now have hard data, and people don't really collect this stuff, and then they just make these assumptions and these generalizations on that information. And it's hard to trust it, and I have a hard time trusting other people because my instant reaction is like, oh, it's a negativity bias. This person doesn't know what they're actually talking about. And I even feel that about myself too. I'm like, I don't really know if I trust myself when I'm complaining about like bad AD carries. Maybe I'm just actually a really bad Alistar player that is doing stupid stuff and doesn't realize it, you know?
Yeah, the only constant thing in every single ranked game you play is yourself.
Mm-hmm.
You're the only thing that you can affect every single game. So working on yourself is the only thing that's going to make you climb. Like, it's a crazy that, like, it sounds really simple, but people don't think about that a lot. They just grind out games and go from game to game without really thinking about why they lost the last game, how they could have won that last game, what about their play made that game harder to win. Because even a game where you go, I had a game yesterday, we played community games, we talked about this, I went 11-2 on Lee Sin. It was a fairly easy win because we did really well, but there were multiple times I had 2 deaths in that game, and I had multiple flashes that weren't optimal. That was a game that we crushed and I won, and there are things I could go back and learn from it.
Mm-hmm.
There's always something to learn in this game. There's always something to play better. So if you literally only focus on yourself, you can fill your time with so much that you need to like work on. Like, it's just, there's an insane scope to this game to what you need to learn. So like, and that can really help you with like not tilting as well. Like, me personally, if I'm focused on what my gameplay needs to be, how I need to play better, like, it doesn't matter what the other teammates are doing. It doesn't matter if they're having a bad game or they're having a good game. Did I CS well this game? Did I control my lane well this game? Did I have good engages? Like, yes or no. That's how good my game went, win or lose.
Yep. So, yeah, we got a lot of, maybe we need to do like another ranked episode where we just talk about these kind of topics, because there's a lot of it's cliche, but it's cliche because it's true. Unfortunately.
Yeah, there's a lot to uncover, and just self-improvement is such a huge thing. If you are gold, you will get to gold. If you are, whatever level you are, if you play enough games, you will get there.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so I think that pretty much rounds out the episode. Thank you, everyone, for stopping by in our Twitch chat, in our Discord, and especially those that have come on to, bring topics to talk about. We really enjoy having the community. I enjoyed this episode. I'm sure Alec did too.
Yeah, we had a great time.
Yeah, so we want to do these again. I'm hoping we could even do these monthly. I don't know if that's going to happen, but let me know, contact me on Twitter, contact me on our Discord, contact me through email, just whatever. Let me know, like, hey, I want to be on the next one. Yeah, maybe not fax. I might have to dust off my fax machine and find the power cord for that if we wanted to do that. But yeah, let me know that you want to do the next one, and hopefully if we get enough response by, you know, the end of next month, we'll do another one monthly or for February. I really enjoy these. These are really great, and we get to really like get to content that you personally want to talk about. So hey, that's going to be helpful to you. So let us know if you like this. Other than that, we have a LOLA tournament coming up. I don't know do you know the date?
February 25th.
Was February 25th? So that is a date. That is like the last Saturday or something of February.
Yeah, for those who have seen it in the Discord, there was an announcement about February 4th, but we all collectively sighed as we realized that that is Super Bowl Sunday and not a great day to hold a tournament, so we're going to be changing it. So sorry to anyone who signed up and was looking forward to that.
Yeah, sorry. It's just going to be delayed so we can all enjoy the Super Bowl and the LOLA tournament. We're really, really hyped about it. We had a lot of fun last time. Sign up information. The best place to find that would be our Discord or Facebook stuff. I don't know if we have a sign up sheet yet for it, but stay tuned. And again, watch our Discord. We did revamp our Discord a little bit, so it should be easier to find announcements and things like that. And yeah, I think that's pretty much it. Don't forget to stop by Community Games on Wednesdays. We're having an awesome turnout. We had like 2 games going last time. Again, really fun. If you guys are interested in shoutcasting, especially play-by-play or color, but especially play-by-play, let us know, because we can always use more shoutcasters to help you know, people rotate in and out and help coordinate games. We would really, really appreciate it if you want to do that.
Yeah, gotta help me get into games so I can keep playing Lee Sin.
So he can stomp on scrubs or whatever he does.
Or feed. You know, it's a very black and white situation with Lee Sin. I either go off or feed. There's no in between.
2-11 or 11-2. Either or.
Exactly.
All right. So yeah, don't forget to show up Wednesday nights in our Discord channel. Links in the episode description. And Wednesday at 8 Central, 9 Eastern, 6 Pacific. Math is hard. Oh no, you did have a question? Oh man. You know what? We'll close out this episode and we'll do like a special one. We'll just like do one. And we'll keep the Twitch stream going, and we'll like post it on somewhere.
Maybe.
All right. So that is it for this episode of the LOL podcast. We will see you guys next week.
Bye everybody.